The night was as hollow as the life he led. Alex trudged along a deserted street, the soles of his sneakers scraping against the cracked asphalt. The city was alive but distant, its hum of activity muffled by the fog that wrapped around him like a shroud. Flickering streetlights illuminated the graffiti-stained walls, their glow revealing the tears that silently carved paths down his unshaven face. It hadn't always been like this. Just a year ago, Alex had walked these streets hand in hand with Eva. Her laughter had been his beacon, her presence his anchor. Now, all that remained was silence. The apartment wasn't a home, it was a tomb. The peeling wallpaper clung stubbornly to the walls, as if unwilling to let go of its last remnants of dignity. A mattress, its edges frayed and sunken in the middle, served as both his bed and his prison. Alex sat in the dim light of a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. In his hands was a photo frame. Its glass cracked, but the image inside preserved. It was a picture of them in the park, a snapshot of a moment when everything had seemed possible. The room was a reflection of his soul, cluttered, broken, and desperate. Bottles littered the floor like discarded dreams, and the air was thick with the stench of failure. Alex's mind drifted, the present dissolving into a kaleidoscope of memories. In the park, the sun painted the world in hues of gold. Eva's laughter rang out as she leaned against a tree, her hands clutching a book. "You need to live a little," she had teased him, tugging at his arm and dragging him toward the picnic blanket they'd set up. He'd loved her spontaneity, her ability to see beauty in the mundane. She had been the light to his shadow, the calm to his storm, but life has a way of stealing what you cherish most. A car accident. A single moment of carelessness from a stranger had torn her away from him. Reality slammed into him like a tidal wave, pulling him out of the comforting haze of memory. Alex fell to his knees, the photo frame clutched tightly against his chest. "Why?" he whispered, his voice cracking. "Why her?" The shadows in the room seemed to come alive, stretching and curling toward him as if feeding on his despair. It wasn't just grief that consumed him, it was guilt. He had been driving that night. He had been the one arguing with her over something so trivial he couldn't even remember it now. He felt the weight of the world pressing down on him, the edges of his vision darkening. The darkness wasn't just metaphorical. Alex found himself standing on the rooftop of his building, the cold wind biting at his skin. Below him, the city stretched out like an endless sea of lights. Indifferent to his pain, he stood at the edge, his arms spread wide as if to embrace the void. The photo of Eva was tucked into his pocket, a final memento of the life they'd shared. He took a deep breath. The first rays of dawn crept over the horizon, bathing the city in a soft, golden light. For a moment, Alex hesitated. Something about the sunrise, its quiet promise of renewal, made him pause. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the photo. He looked at her face one last time. "You wouldn't want this," he murmured. "You'd want me to live." Tears streamed down his face, but they were different now, not of despair, but of release. He stepped back from the edge, placing the photo on the rooftop ledge. He watched as the wind carried it away, Eva's smile fading into the sky. For the first time in months, Alex felt the faintest glimmer of hope. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he knew now he had to walk it. For her. For himself.